27 people who travel across India, meet social entrepreneurs, work on a project. On an average, about 35, 40 social ventures have come out of that every year for last 7-8 years. And many who don't start the venture, they join the sector. So almost about 40% have joined the sector, others remain there as volunteers or some kind of supporters. So now they have, I think, almost about 2,000 alumni. 3,000 plus alumni. So, and would grow. Pankaj Jain provides a very different kind of support. He's a lawyer by profession. He used to work with Acumen Fund. And then 4 years back, exactly 4 years back, so congratulations. Because today is the 4th anniversary of the venture which he founded, which is called Impact Law Venture, which provides legal support and legal advice to young social startups. Not young, but even those who are scaling up at different stages of the life scale. So, okay, as a moderator, my task is to so you'll see that I have brought this here because I have to keep time, and this is also warning to others. So what we'll do is that each of the speakers, I'll request them to make a short presentation of about 15 minutes, so that we have about half an hour for question answers and discussions which may be there. So let me start alphabetic. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was forgetting about that. May I request Shamika to kindly give saplings to our esteemed panel. So, Arti Mohan, to Ashutosh Kumar, okay, so let me start with requesting Arti. We go like this or like this? Okay. So,
good morning, everyone. The dangerous thing about being in the last panel session of such an incredible 2 days is that there is so much expectation also, and also like I can see everyone's looks saying that this better be, your story better be worth what like a finish to the conference. So we tell other people's stories, and that's what makes our story. Before that, I have a very short introduction of what we do as a company overall. I'm one of the co-founders at this organization called Sattva. We started 6 years ago. 4 of us engineers, as has been the trend of electrical engineers leaving what they do and starting up social ventures. This is what we started in 2009 to provide support to the social impact sector through how do we work with organizations of every kind and nature in order to scale and realize their vision. So today we look at the way we look at the sector is this. I mean, it's a continuous spectrum from starting with charity organizations, strictly charity organizations and non-profits on one end, to large corporations like the Birlas and the Tatas on the other end, and everyone is looking at sustainability in a certain way. So we actually provide support to organizations across the spectrum in various different ways, and what we call the balanced middle is also the area where we see a lot of movement in of non-profits that are looking to become sustainable in different ways and to scale the nature of what they're doing and to replicate the nature of what they're doing across, as well as corporations, big corporations that are looking at sustainability as an integral part of the way they run their business and not just as a mere extension, to startups that are then, like we've heard so many incredible stories in the last 2 days, so startups that are looking at from day one, how do I put impact and, business together and do something. So, so the way we work is that we work with organizations in various different needs that they have, starting with strategy and we tie ourselves very strongly to their operations and realizing their programs on the ground. So we provide help with strategy, we provide help with recruiting high quality talent into the social impact space. We help people with building value chains from urban to rural and the other way. I mean, whether it is for delivery of essential services, whether it is for products and solutions to travel either way. We help organizations to actually strengthen or build their value chains of organizations that are working on the on social impact on the ground in low-income spaces. And the last part is that we reach out to customers, which is what consumers, which is what I'm going to talk about largely today. Is what we call the rest of the world. Like there are social ventures, and these social ventures have customers, they have consumers, they have people that they reach out to across. And how do you build an ecosystem for those people to connect effectively to social ventures? That's what I do personally at Sattva through the alternative, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. But this is how we work overall at the company. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So so as an orchestrator, we work across the value chain and bring organizations together, design and execute programs on the ground along with social organizations. So I think that when we started Sattva in 2009, one of the things that we were thinking about is that there is so much of information that is not available to us as people. I mean, we were all engineers and we were all working in the corporate sector. We all wanted to do something good for the community, but the good that we could do for the community was very traditionally bound to a lot of things that we saw around us, like, signing off a check and donating to organizations. We could go volunteer in the school, on weekends when we wanted to. But what deeper than that? In what is social impact? In what way can I actually be a part of that equation? Was something that a lot of us were, not very, we couldn't see how we could participate in this process in a more deeper manner. So when we started the alternative, we started it really for people like us. We said that, how can everyone play a role in this, in the entire social impact ecosystem? So when we started off, there's also we looked at, there are problems of huge nature that we see around us. For example, this is one of the stories that we often talk to audiences about, which is an island that's in the Pacific where there is no habitation, nobody lives there. But when a photographer went on the island and stayed there for about 6 months, and he realized that a lot of the seagulls were dying there because of mysterious reasons, he opened up their, when he opened up their stomachs, he realized that there were batteries and there were, a lot of waste that they had consumed and died because of that. So wherever we've not gone, also our trash is reached. So consumption by the overall, by all of us is hugely unsustainable today. Is a story that's very widely known. So second is, there's crisis everywhere. So we celebrate this whole Earth Overshoot Day every year, which says that have we consumed the resources for that year and by which date. So last year it actually fell on August 19th. So whatever we had allocated from the earth till December, we had already consumed it by August. So it's across, whether it's natural resources and otherwise, there is unsustainability because we don't know where the resources are going to come from, and secondly we don't know how to manage it, and there's simply exploding growth today without looking at all of the factors. So, and then the softer social issues of gender violence. There's not inclusivity is something that it seems like an elusive goal across spaces, and all of us are troubled by the just the nature of social issues that face us today, which sort of transcends groups and ages and cultures. So that's another thing that we were, so the problems, if you try to look at it, it just seems huge and large and overwhelming. So when we started off, we said that why don't we start off by just talking about what's actually working? How do we tell stories of good things that are happening? So that's what we started. These are examples of stories that we've said about somebody in an orange seller in a village the only school in that village was closing down, and the orange seller said, I'm going to fund the school with the sale from my oranges. He doesn't even have a cell phone or a number in his house. So that's how they started off. And looking at him, the local banks decided to pitch in their amount. Then there are people in the village that decided to pitch in. So in about a year, the entire school was reconstructed, and it didn't have to close down because of this gentleman who gave away his wages from selling oranges. So when we wrote about this story, this is a village that's close to Mangalore. So somebody actually wrote to us from Mangalore and said that this is such a great story, I want to give back to this person, and he funded the school for the next 5 years. So, and he lives in Scotland. So the fact that online you can actually connect people to from across, like in bizarre proportions, people are looking to do good, was something that we, in the first few years of running the organization, we realized is great. So we wrote a lot of great stories. A lot of people came back and gave money. Some of them came and volunteered and so on. And then things were going well. So. And then somebody came to us and said that, you guys are a great Sunday. Like I read you guys on the weekend, and I feel very good about the stuff that is happening, what people are doing, what social entrepreneurs are doing, what NGOs are doing, and I'm giving my little bit to it. But that's really not good enough because for them it was still an equation that said that, this is my life. And that is where the rest of the problems are, and I can try and do something once in a while for it. And that sort of opened our eyes and said that, how are we creating an ecosystem for people if we are going to be something that you read on a weekend when you have time. So we didn't want to be just a news magazine that could, that you could read and get to know about the world, but somebody that could help you to go towards action, towards the social impact, towards sustainability that we're talking about. So then we realized that the instruments that people had to really participate in social impact was one by giving, by volunteering, and some of us, like all of you sitting in the room, said, okay, I'm gonna make this my job. I'm gonna make this the quest of my life, and I'm gonna figure out how to make farmers more productive and so on. So, but overall, we felt that the bigger disconnect is the fact that we are consuming every day. And we are using natural resources. We are, by every action of ours, either leading to the depletion of forests, we're leading to farmers not being able to give in a field. So it's everything is connected, and this connect is something that people missed from across. How do we make it relevant to somebody's everyday life and not a good to have, where I go and feel good when I give my time back to social organizations? So we want to make sustainability a way of life, right? So, and then we started the Alternative.in, which we said is a lifestyle magazine. So we started looking at the problem of how do we make people think about socially responsible, socially and environmentally conscious things every day in everything they do and they are interested in, like the food we eat, what we how do we educate our children, how do we in our everyday business decisions, how do we take them, what are the kind of costs that we consider, how do we as employees of an organization, how do we lead how are our workplaces designed. So a lot of these things that we started talking about, which is something that we do every day, and it's something that somebody can. So we became a magazine that talked about food, that talked about fashion, that talked about everything that you would see in like any kind of a regular lifestyle publication, but all of them had an inherent social impact or an inherent sustainability equation to it. The second thing we did is that we said, okay, there are celebrities, but it's important for people to believe that this is an idea that they can execute. So we started talking about people that you would, everyday heroes that nobody sort of, knows about. Like for example, the lady on the Vani is actually in Bangalore. She is somebody who has tried out every kind of composting technology there is. Her house is almost like a compost lab. So anyone who's working in waste management as an entrepreneur goes to her and asks her a test out. But not only does she do that, she actually then goes to schools, she goes to apartment complexes and helps people with how do they manage their waste. Yeah. So the idea is that this is not somebody you would hear about in newspapers or is a celebrity. Like she was, last year she was on the on Amir Khan's show after Satyam Jayate because of all the work that she's done on waste. But the fact is that she is someone you can easily approach and go say that this is something that I want to do. Vishwanath is somebody who 10 years ago started just teaching people how to grow a little bit of food in their own backyards. He said that if we are not addressing the food sustainability equation in our cities, then in our own ways, and we will become unsustainable after a while. And secondly, we have a huge disconnect with our food. We don't know, we don't know who's the farmer who's growing our food. We don't know where it comes from. The first step towards that is trying to actually put your hand into the mud and doing something yourself. So he started off like 10 years ago, and today there are actually over 10,000 people in Bangalore city itself, and equal numbers in other cities that are able to grow something in their backyard, something like somebody actually grows 22 vegetables in a drainage pipe. So it's not even about, a luxury or having huge space and so on. People are able to connect with some of these systems that we've lost connect with because of people like this. The second thing that we said that if people have to adopt practices, then they also have to have an ecosystem around them that helps them solve the challenges. Now there's a Facebook group where people put up, saying, okay, I've started doing this, but in this small ant, white color, what do I do about it? You put up a picture, next 5 minutes somebody tells you, oh, this is what it's called, this is what take neem oil, dilute with 1 liter, put it out, right? So there is actually somebody out there who is able to solve your problem right away. So and someone posts back saying that, I want to, there is a women's forum where people are talking about eco-friendly options to their children's diapers or sanitary napkins and so on. How do we get rid of sanitary waste in the cities that is hugely piling up? And that, it's a close group, but there are people out there who are very candid about a lot of the products they've been using, how it's working for them. So this is the kind of support that people need in order to make that switch. The one is the whole inspiration about this feels great and so on, but after I start doing or after I start embarking on this journey, what do I do? So on the alternative, we also have people that have done all of this to tell you, okay, this is where if you want to build a greenhouse, this is where you pick up the wood from, this is where you can, this is the ways in which you can reduce cost and so on, and that's a great learning. So the house on the Kachara is a house in Bangalore, which the man has built from 90% demolition waste from other construction sites. So there's really nothing new in his house. He does his house is green by design because he just decided to go spend every Sunday visiting sites that are being demolished and bring like a closet or a wash basin, wood, everything from there, and then build his house. So his house is today it's in almost every huge magazine on green publication is there. But he's a next door neighbor, and you can always walk into our house one day and talk to him about how he did this. So the third part, which is also something that we realized, is that there's a lot of noise about, and there's a lot of celebration as well about the work that's happening in this space, but there's not enough discussion. There's not enough of the how and the what works and what doesn't work. Oftentimes, whenever we talk about social enterprise, there is a lot of stories on the founders, but what about the second in line? What about the employees that then come and strengthen that enterprise, and make that person not the lone mad guy, but there's actually an organization that's being able to do this stuff. So we started writing about employees that work in social enterprises. We started talking about people that made the switch. So it's not like a glamorous, I decided to do good to the world, so I gave up my job and I'm like this. I'm like the cat's whiskers, but actually people that have, what is that struggle that took them from a corporate job or from being an artist and so on in order to join the social sector, either as an entrepreneur, either as an employee, either as a donor or an impact investor, and any of that, right? So there's real people, real conversations, and the how story is something that's useful to people. So we started writing about the how, I mean, a lot of these are just screenshots from my website, and you can see a lot of the social enterprises where we've decided to talk to them a little deeper than, the regular, how you're going to scale, how you're going to become 100,000. And there's, testimony in the last 2 days that can really be eye-opening. So that's something that we do. And the fourth part is that we are helped by people writing stories from across the world. So this is not somebody's, I decided to think about this from a desk and then write stories. We have over 600 people, and some of them are in this room too, writing to us from all parts of the world, and whatever. There are social entrepreneurs writing for us, there are food nutritionists writing for us, there are travelers who pretty much travel across. And when Jagriti Gata ran a couple of years ago, there was somebody who were from the train, sending us blogs whenever they could get internet connection as to the kind of experience that we're facing. And this is the kind of information that has supported people in order to make in order to be able to make that change. So collaborating with people from across to come and tell their stories and give them a platform. So our youngest writer is 11 years old. Our oldest writer is a 75-year-old kitchen gardener. So there's a whole range of people writing about what they care about, but in ways that are useful to other people. So that's something that that has helped us to develop the conversation around social impact and a lot more of a balanced way. The other thing, okay, so then this is all online, this is all great. But that's still a two-dimensional, fairly antiseptic medium. How do we get people to meet people? How do we get people to hear, smell, taste, touch this experience? And that's going to be critical. Being in this conference and listening to these stories is hugely different from, probably reading it off on some website, right? Like also. So how do we then translate? We have to get people together and get them to do these things, and we'll have to have something that's offline. So we started what we call the Green Bazaar about a year and a half ago, where we have products, we curate quality products that you can, in the cities use as a consumer, which are alternatives that are environmentally and socially sustainable. The good part is that you meet the people that make these products and are able to have conversations with them, and it's not a marketing person that's talking to you. So you're actually able to see why you make this choice. Why is sanitary waste a conversation? Why do I need to compost? Why is chemical-free, or why is organic product produce even important to me? So those are the kind of things that we run a lot of fun activities and workshops and so on. So it's also like a huge mela, because it's something that a family should be able to come to and spend a weekend, which is away from the mall. So there's all the the festivity of a celebration. We have performances, like we had somebody who came and made instruments, guitars and so on out of pipes and dustbins, and they had a drum jam that the audience was able to participate in. So all of this has a certain story of sustainability, but it's not at the forefront. It's something that you experience and come to at the end on your own terms. So, and the experience is something that helps people. A tree activist once told me, I try to plant seeds in the mind, and then that will plant seeds in the soil. So that's really what we try and do, like tell people this is all the stuff that you can experience, and you figure out what makes sense to you. And we believe that, small actions done often enough by a large number of people can actually have a huge impact, right? So that's, so the last, this is my last, So the other thing that so this is the entire consumer equation, getting from children who are 2 years old to people who are, 75, to come and just experience what this is and then be able to contribute positively to this alternative economy that we are all imagining and dreaming and building. The second part is, of course, then what do you do with, college students like you all? It's incredible to see that the number of enterprises that have come out of students that have sat here 2-3 years ago, and how fondly they refer to Professor Madhukar, Professor Prabal as being instrumental, and this experience is being instrumental in actually helping them understand, demystify, and get into the sector. I wish I studied in XLRI, if I was younger, I could have. But this is something that we do in the cities, where we, and here to town, where we get we connect people who are interested in joining the development sector with social entrepreneurs like y'all, with people in the ecosystem, like it could be investors, it could be people like Pankaj and so on, to just debunk myths around working. I mean, will I get a salary? Will I, what is my career growth going to look like when I join the impact sector? Can I actually start up now? So some of these questions for people is what we try and answer by bringing together social entrepreneurs and people that are interested, like they could be in corporate, they could be students from college and so on. So this is, we call this Careers in Impact, and we run this in Bangalore, Delhi, and Ahmedabad, and soon in Coimbatore and Mysore, places like that as well. So there is, with the huge interest of in people, wanting to join this space, how do we then catalyze that interest meaningfully into people? And you also know what you're up for. It's not like this, picture that's very rosy, but you know exactly what you're getting into. So that's another kind of a space that we create in order for people to be able to fulfill their wishes or fulfill their dreams of being a part of this social impact movement. So yeah, overall, I mean, as we are an online publication that talks about a spectrum of things from travel to business and societies. We are a publication. We do events, we do print booklets as well. That's a little bit about, that's a little bit about the kind of traffic and that's growing and where do people come from and so on. And that's us on, I mean, all of us, we are completely on vaporware except for the green bazaars that today happen in Bangalore, Chennai and soon in Pune. So that's where we exist on social media, and that's where all the conversations around, what can you do, how can you do it, what to watch out for, who's doing stuff in this space, and so on. And today, from people in colleges to kitchen gardeners to artists to social entrepreneurs, come and also look at what exactly are other people doing and so on based on what they read in our site. And there's a certain level of trust that's been built, saying that we will bring together information that's intelligent and will help me, go beyond the obvious. So, so at the end of the day, I mean, the thing is that what we've learned from our experience of running these, creating and running these platforms is that, I mean, nothing is going to happen overnight. So it's all going to be it's a fairly long-term process, and nobody's looking for the next, with regular people, nobody's really looking for, what is my daily dose of social impact, social impact footprint, or like our carbon footprints and so on. But the point is, if you're able to give them an experience that they can relate to, the hope is that a lot of them will take it back and be able to bring it into their lives and into their communities. And let me use the power of communities to make stuff happen in pockets, because we can't be everywhere. So that's the alternative story. Happy to take any questions.
We have questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fascinating story, and this is just one example of the kind of support which exists. I'm sure there will be others. There are others. Different kind of support. We were unlimited with us, which provide the support. And move over to the next speaker, Ashutosh Kumar, Executive Director of Japanese.
Thank you, sir. Last night I was also in the same dilemma as Aarti was, the dilemma of being the last speaker. Yes, sir. We have a very strict moderator, we are not so lucky. So I was in the same dilemma of being the last speaker, because the bar has been set so high. The information shared with all of you, the kind of stories told to all of you are so superb, are so fantastic, that how can we match that? I was reminded of this wonderful TED Talk video. I don't know how many of you have seen that. This wonderful speaker gives a TED Talk on how to give a good TED Talk. And I thought of something similar. Why not I give a talk on how to give the best social conference talk? Just picking the good words from all the speakers and saying this is how you can give a good talk. But Fortunately or unfortunately, I decided not to do that, and I am sticking back to the PPT I brought and the video that we have. So I will start with a 4-minute video. You can deduct that 4 minutes, and I will have 11 minutes to talk then.
You already done 1 minute.
मैंने कहा जी हमें दवा चाहिए, ये देंगे तो हमने कहा ये दवा शुरू कर दी, थोड़ा ठीक है.
We are trying to show what good education can do in them. Most of them face education barriers. Nobody in their families has ever gone to school. We make sure that we groom them into a good human being.
मेरा सजूक का प्रोडक्ट है और पसंद मेरा अकेले का कारोबार है.
We give them a market and we also have capacity building training for them to get their business more oriented.
We are better at doing things to create smiles.
So that is the whole funder of our company.
सोचे हमने 2007 में शुरू किया था, फिर मेरे पास एक पर्सनल कंप्यूटर था. 450 लोग, those who are working on their own ideas.
बात करने के लिए जो अंदर से डर था वे कुछ कम हुआ. मैं
जागरूक जी रखना, तुम्हें जो कुछ खूबी है वो बाहर निकालने का काम करती है. मतलब I want to cause change. I want to make my life for
The best way to be an entrepreneur is explore my own country, know our own people.
तो वो चीज़ देखने को मिली है कि किस तरीके से लोगों ने छोटे से शुरू करके और बड़े पैमाने पर वो पहुंचे. मतलब everyone wants this कि हाँ साथ में वो 15,000 पर चीजें होगी.
The learnings kept piling up. So once you get back home, start unpacking it. Pick one motivation at a time, one inspiration at a time. Implement it in whatever you do, not necessarily in your own enterprise. It could be a regular corporate job that you're working for. It could be a regular business that you're helping your family with. That's what Yatra does for you.
देश दो चीज़ होती है. Protest is important, but building is far more important. And it is one thing to take on this journey. It's the center of building.
So that was a small video from the Yatra. In 1914, 1914 में, most of you people know, when Mahatma Gandhi came back from South Africa, one of the first things he did was to go on a train journey, advised by his mentor Gopal Krishna Gokhale कि तुम पूरे भारत में भ्रमण करो, देखो, समझो, उसके बाद अपना कार्य शुरू करो. that is a very evocative and poignant thought and image for us. And in some way that has been inspiration for us as well to do this train journey. A train full of 450 young people, 450 aspiring entrepreneurs who want to bring change in the society, in the country. And this train, which I refer to a boiling pot of good minds, it travels all across the country, and we meet some really wonderful social and business entrepreneurs who are bringing change, अपने तरीके से एक बदलाव लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं ताकि हम और ये 450 लोग उनसे सीख सकें. When he did this train journey, Mahatma Gandhi in 1930, the Dandi March that happened, where he took initially 78 people, went on a march, but slowly swelled upon into thousands of people, right? And they broke that salt law. This power of collective action that Aarti also mentioned in her work is very important, and that is really what has defined nations. Not only India, but many other nations. And when we look back into the history, right from USA, where this Clark and Lewis expedition happened, something similar happened in China also, and in India also, when Gandhi did that, the whole freedom movement, it came out of the Delhi and Mumbai crowd to the villages, small villages, when the villagers poured out on the streets and supported this freedom march. And that is how the nations are built, and hence we are very also keen to create this another movement, a movement which is more appropriate in today's times, which is the enterprise-led development movement. And the other similar story that is again a very wonderful story. So I mentioned this. This is about Rosa Parks. Many of you might be aware, know about her, who is known as the mother of this black movement in USA. The lesser known story is that she moved out of Alabama to see that the blacks and the whites are equally treated, right? So there is nothing natural about it. It's completely unnatural that you are discriminating. And then she came back to Alabama, and this whole thing started. So just the power of going out of your context and looking back at your own place. Oh my God, my place is so beautiful. My place is so underprivileged. There are so many things missing there. I have to come back and I have to change my own place. We call it the power of transformation. And this is what Yatra is doing to many youth whom we take out of their own context, their own places, अपने छोटे जगहों से, शहरों से, गांव से आप बाहर निकलिए, देश देखिए, देश में क्या हो रहा है देखिए, और फिर आप अपने जगह पे वापस जाइए. That is equally important. The courage to go back to your own place is equally important. वहां जाके फिर आप बदलाव लाने का प्रयत्न कीजिए. And a more extreme example of this would be how beautiful our planet Earth is, right? I mean, all of us know. But the real beauty you will see when you go out in the space, right? जब आप दूर से अपने खुद के planet को, अपने घर को देखते हैं, then you realize, my God, how beautiful our home, our Earth is. So this sheer act, this power of just going out, moving out of your own place and looking back and saying, I want to be here, I want to come back, I want to work from my own area, my own place, is something that Yatra is empowering, is how empowering these youth who are coming every year. And with this thought, with this various thoughts actually in our mind, we started Jagriti Yatra back in 2008. The only one vision, the only one mission was building India through enterprise. This was a time to build new India, and it was only through enterprise that we can build. Enterprise can bring change, enterprise can bring solutions to many developmental problems that we are facing in our current times. So we thought, let's ask youth to come out who have fire in their belly, passion to do something. Let's take them on this train journey so that they are changed when they come back. I will show you some of the pictures from the Yatra because, I mean, images, pictures can say 1,000 words. So we have got a special train. It's a specially chartered train that we booked from Indian Railways. It's a fully tariff train until this year when we managed to get some concession from the Indian Railways after 7 years. 450 youth selected from all across the country, 7% come from the foreign countries also. But out of 450, most of them, 65% of them are from the smaller towns and villages of the country. You must have seen in the video people like Sangeeta Devi, जो जमुई बिहार से हैं, people like सविता मुंडे, जो एक सरपंच रह चुकी थी, एक बडाली गांव है महाराष्ट्र में. ऐसे लोगों को हम इस यात्रा में ले जाना चाहते हैं क्योंकि जो रियल मूवमेंट आने वाला है वो छोटे शहरों और गांवों से होने वाला है. और जितने भी स्पीकर्स यहाँ पे जिन्होंने बात की, सबके काम में आपने ये जरूर देखा होगा कि वो ऐसे छोटे जगहों पे शहरों में जाके काम कर रहे हैं. 8,000 kilometers, so we traverse across the country for 8,000 kilometers. It's a complete circular trip that we take. We start from Mumbai on 24th, go down south, go to the east coast, and start going up north till Delhi, and then we come back to Mumbai to the western route. We have 15 days on the train. 15 दिन की आपका घर बन जाता है. You have all the facilities, basic facilities that you need at home so that you feel comfortable and you can work on your ideas, you can discuss with others. 13 destinations. The train stops at these 13 destinations for a day, and all the 450 people get down the train. There's a big caravan of 12 to 13 buses waiting outside, which transport the 450 youth to the role model, जिनसे हम मिलने जा रहे हैं, जो entrepreneur हैं, उनसे मिलने के लिए buses लेके जाते हैं. And then we have 20 role models, people who are doing wonderful stuff in their own area, the social and the business entrepreneurs. As I said, there are 450 youth who are very passionate, who are eager to be the change. There is a selection process. You have to apply for the Yatra. बहुत ही साधारण और सिंपल एक एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म है, आवेदन पत्र है. उसमें आप 6-7 सवाल हैं, आप उनके जवाब दीजिए, उसके आधार पे आपका सिलेक्शन होता है. We don't look for any academic qualification, professional background. So it's just the fire inside your belly, the passion to become an entrepreneur, which can bring you on this train. This is again a big crowd of the people, and this girl called Zainab, she's asking the role model some question. Some of our role models whom we visit during the Yatra, Joe Madiyar, who is from Odisha. I think Shruti she's here, yeah. She has worked with Gram Vikas, and he's a very extremely inspirational person for us, because a person who is born in Kerala, who studied Madras, and then who went to Odisha to work for the tribal people, takes you great courage, right? To go to some other place and dedicate literally your life. And the message Joe gives is, you don't need to give poor solutions to the poor people. Poor people need the best of the solutions in the country, in the world. And that is what he has been working upon, building toilets for these tribal people. And he has done some extremely great work. The other message he gives, and the other role models also give, he's Pankaj Roy from Tilonia, Barefoot College. And the message he sends is that you have to be a marathon runner, not a sprint one. So if you are going to do something socially entrepreneurial, keep in mind it's going to be a long haul. काफी लंबी यात्रा है, काफी लंबी जर्नी है, आप लोग उसके लिए तैयार रहिए. Anshu Gupta, all of us have met him, seen him. We have been visiting to see his work for last 7 years. 2008 से हम वहाँ पे जा रहे हैं. Sapriya Tembakken, who is from Trivandrum, and she's running this Tanthali, which was earlier International Institute for Social Entrepreneurs, and it's a great story. She also founded Braille Without Borders in Tibet. She actually started this whole institute to train the blind people in becoming social entrepreneurs. And now they have moved beyond that also. So it's, the institute is producing some great entrepreneurs. Obviously, inside the train, as I said, that it becomes a boiling pot. एक मतलब एकदम खनखनाता हुआ जो कहते हैं बर्तन बन जाता है, जिसमें इतने सारे लोगों को आपने रखा है, इतने आइडियाज आपने रखे हैं, तो आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि वहाँ क्या होने वाला है। ये हमारा ट्रेन का एक 2 चेयर कार्स होते हैं, जिसको हम लोगों ने कन्वर्ट कर दिया है कॉन्फ्रेंस रूम में। We have got LCD screen, we have got PA system, audio system, etc., so that anyone who can come and present. But most importantly, the yatris assemble here and they do all their discussions, ideas, etc. here. Again, some going out and you meet the local community people where the role model is working. Inside the train, this is one of the sessions going on. The learning never stopped. This is one of a very beautiful image where the train was in Bhubaneswar station. Unfortunately, we had to stop our train for almost 7 to 8 hours right in the dead of the night. 12 बजे से लेके सुबह 4-5-6 बजे तक. And all the yatris had to deboard the train क्योंकि कुछ उसका maintenance check होना था. And so the yatris had to sleep on the platform for the entire night. So that was another great experience for all of them. The personal impact has been really great so far, as we have seen more than 3,000 plus entrepreneurs and 300 से ज़्यादा enterprises लोगों ने start किए हैं. As I said, 3,000 plus alumni spread all across the country, developed relationships. 300 Yatri ventures have been formed.